Here in New York City, Democrat socialist Zohran Mamdani's surging rise has critics warning New Yorkers, you've got other options.
Florida Senator Rick Scott flying banners over New York City beaches, urging those who hate socialism to move to the Sunshine State. In Florida, Flex, the ad, goes on to note, quote, "We have better beaches." Boy, is that true.
Florida GOP Senator Rick Scott joins us now with more. So thank you so much for joining us, Senator Scott. Are you at all worried that you might get too many New Yorkers in Florida?
No, if they like capitalism, they're going to come down. If they like socialism, they're going to stick around. I mean, think about it. New York used to be the center of capitalism. People went there because it was a city of opportunity. Now it's so expensive, only billionaires can afford to live there. It's okay to attack Jews in New York City. That's what happens. And now they're going to elect a socialist to run the city. So Florida, we're doing just the opposite. So we're the land of opportunity, and we do have better beaches.
Yeah, and he did his wedding, by the way, Zohran Mamdani, in Uganda. He didn't even want to do business in New York City for his wedding. Unbelievable.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it really is. Senator, something that is really on a lot of people's minds right now, and we've been hearing a lot of excuses from people on Capitol Hill, is why President Trump has so many of his U.S. attorneys, ambassadors, and other cabinet officials that have not yet been confirmed. You've been phenomenal on this, Senator, but can we start to get some action on this? Because if we do not have a full roster of President Trump's selections by Labor Day, I think that is a failure. We're seeing almost a third of some of these nominees just being stalled in the Senate. What is the action plan here to either do concurrent nomination votes, make the Democrats have to break their will by doing over weekend votes? What is the plan so President Trump's team, his people, can be put in place?
Well, first off, there's 134 nominees that have gone through the committee, not been confirmed. That's unprecedented. The Democrats are slowing all these down. So what do we have to do? Do our job. Show up. Stay there. We need to cancel a recess, or we need to allow recess appointments and let the president do it through recess appointments. But the right thing to do is we're going to have to stay there through August recess to get these nominations done. Now,
is that what's
it's still not going to be enough. I hope so. I mean, I'm going to do everything I can. Remember, my first slogan when I got into politics, when I ran for governor, was let's get to work. That's what we ought to be doing. Do our job. Show up. Stay there. We need to work 5 days a week. We need to work weekends. We need to cancel recesses to get these nominations done.
On another front, you met recently, along with Senator Shaheen, with the Venezuelan democracy leader, I think the bravest woman in Latin America, Maria Corina Machado. And you both released a joint and bipartisan statement about Maduro, about that stolen election. What else can the U.S. government, the president, the Senate do to support liberty in Venezuela?
Well, first off, Maria Corina Machado is probably one of the biggest freedom fighters in the world.
Yes.
She's in hiding right now because she would be killed by Maduro if people knew where she was. So that's unbelievable. So what we've got to do is do what President Trump has been doing and what Marco Rubio, and the opposite of what the Democrats under Biden did. We've got to hold Maduro accountable, not allow any money to flow to Maduro. We've got to do what they've done. I've asked for Tren de Aragua, Cartel de los Soles to be terrorist organizations, the gangs. They are. Thank President Trump for doing that. So we've just got to make sure we hold them accountable. Tell everybody, Maduro, Diaz-Canel, Ortega, Petro in Colombia. These are pariahs to the world, no different than Putin is, or Xi is, or the Ayatollah are. They are pariahs to freedom and democracy. So no money can get to these criminal. It's a criminal organization. That's what Maduro runs. Tomorrow's the one-year anniversary of when he stole the election, where Armando Gonzalez, who ran because Maduro would not allow Maria Corina Machado to be on the ballot. And by the way, the Biden administration said they allowed money to go to Maduro because he was going to have a free and fair election. He didn't, and they did nothing about it.
Yeah, it's a terrible situation. We're glad that she has supporters in the Senate because this is really important to the Venezuelan people. But as you said, this is a national security issue for us. These pariahs, as you call them, these narco states, and that's what that is. And this man who stole that election, Maduro, I mean, they're just off the coast, and they're working with China, they're working with Iran, and all the worst players in the world. So we appreciate you giving her a platform and meeting with her. That's important. Thank you, Senator.
Thanks, Senator.
Appreciate it.
Have a great day. Bye-bye. Move to Florida.
If you're not a socialist.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.